Hi, I'm Dr. Sam Bunting and I'm here today with the lovely Dr. Emma Wedgeworth.
Hi.
Who works with me in my practice and shares, well, lots of things really. Patient talk.
Lots of things, passion for skincare.
Skincare talk, yeah. So we're
All sorts.
answering some questions that you all posted on Instagram. Thank you. And today's question, Emma, is what to do when your skin has gone crazy sensitive, red and dry, and yet blemish prone.
A classic. We see a
and
lot
it's
of
tricky,
this.
isn't it?
It is tricky, but I think that when people come with this issue, often the things that they've been doing before they come to see us are just making the problem a whole lot worse. And actually the first thing I tend to do is strip a whole load of things
Take your red pen out.
Literally big crosses.
And I think
through
people
everything.
quite like it. I think it's quite liberating.
Well, I think it saves people money. It saves their skin. I think it's all good. What's to moan about? With that one?
Simplicity is key in most things
Huge.
in life, and I think people value it a lot. So let's talk about the basics of skincare first, and then we'll get on to what to do when you factor in blemishes as well.
So I think in any regime you need some backbones of your regime, and for me that's a cleanser, a good moisturiser and a good sunscreen, and that's really the backbone of my sort of skincare regime.
Triage of skin happiness. Cleanser, moisturiser,
Yes.
sunscreen. So I think working backwards with sunscreen, I certainly find physical filters to be less problematic, especially around the eyes in those with sensitive skin. And sensitive skin can manifest in all sorts of shapes and form, but it is typically thin skin. It can be combination, but oftentimes you'll see vessels around the eyes that are visible, and it'll be a lot more prone to redness and just environmental triggers. And in that instance, skincare can certainly really wind it up and cause a lot of problems, can't it?
No, I like the physical sunblocks. So for those of you that don't know, I'm sure you've covered this before, but physical sunblocks are different to chemical sunblocks, and they're lots of like tiny little mirrors that sit on top of the skin and reflect the sun's rays away, whereas chemical sunblocks act like a sponge within the skin and absorb the sun's rays and prevent damage from happening. So the physical ones that don't actually sit inside your skin actually don't irritate quite as much. So I really like those as well. Great.
And then coming on to moisturiser, I like my moisturiser just to be a moisturiser, not to try to do 6 other things at the same time.
This is the voice of reason.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not simple about many things in life, especially wardrobe things. But, you know, with skincare, let's sort out the moisturiser and make it just do that.
Absolutely, just about hydrating. And then anything else that you want to use, any active ingredient, you want to use them at concentrations enough to actually have some efficacy. Whereas often when you have these multitasking moisturisers, actually there's nothing in them that's going to do anything because they're in such small concentrations. So I'm all over that.
Okay.
Moisturiser is just for hydration.
And then coming back to your cleanser, really, I mean, I think my whole philosophy is about getting the skin in such good condition that you're not reliant on loads of layers of makeup, and therefore you're not using industrial strength cleansing, multiple steps to cleansing to get the makeup off and the sunscreen. So if you work backwards from those principles, you shouldn't need too aggressive a cleansing routine. So for me, literally almost everyone I see will get a basic non-foaming, minimally or no fragrance cleanser. It's incredibly hard to find on fragrance cleansers though, isn't it? This is a real bugbear for us. So a really kind of non-irritating cleanser that literally just gets the dirt of the day off, the excess oil off, any products you've got on your skin off, and prepares the way for the next steps, which are always going to be more impactful because these are products you're leaving on the skin.
And I think that's huge, isn't it? That actually you're rinsing off your cleanser. So there is a limit to how much contact it's having with your skin, and there's a limit to how much benefit it can have for you. So I agree, keep it really simple, but keep it non-irritant, because sometimes some of the ones that contain acids and various other things can actually really irritate sensitive skin. So a gentle cleanser is really important.
Yeah. So I think that way also you can quantify any problems. So use those 3 things together, your skin is fine. You then introduce an active product. So say you do think of adding in an AHA based product. So for me, with sensitive skin, something like lactic acid is often quite a good first active to introduce because it's both hydrating and gently exfoliating in a way that I find much easier to use than things like glycolic and salicylic acid. But then when you're adding these things in one at a time, and I tend to do that with sensitive skin when I'm building a routine, you kind of know, okay, that's the problem, because those 3 other products were completely fine before I introduced that.
Exactly. And patience is a virtue with sensitive skin. So really starting to gently and very, very slowly introduce things. So even once a week, first of all, then twice a week, and slowly building it up, because your skin will get used to things. But if you start off thinking, I want my skin better next week, you're going to just irritate your skin. So I think that's a really
slow
important...
and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady.
Okay, so that's the way we approach our basic routines. It's kind of like the capsule wardrobe, if you will, for the skin. Now, let's talk about blemishes in context of that. Tricky, isn't it? I mean, people, especially as women get older, still very common to experience blemishes, especially before your period, but struggle with the kind of formulations that seem to be more typically geared at the teenager market.
Adult acne is something that we see more and more of, actually, and I think that we then need to factor in all the other changes that happen as your skin gets older. So you're right, a lot of the over-the-counter products are geared towards the teenage market, which probably have slightly more resilient, slightly more just generally oily skin, so we have to be careful in the adult acne patients. For me, in terms of a prescription, I think azelaic acid works very well. What do you think?
I agree, and I think that, again, splitting your routine, so perhaps in the morning you're fighting active blemishes more, and then at night time preventing the spots of the future more. So that sort of very rational approach, you know, that which each step is what it's doing, what it's contributing, and also being aware that the right active at night can enhance the performance of your actives during the day because of improved penetration. So I guess that's where we're really lucky in having these powerful prescription elements to kind of build into your routine. And you know what? They tend to be cleaner. They tend to have fewer extra bits, which in themselves means we know what's causing a problem, and we can manage that with reduced frequency and smaller quantities at the beginning, and then building up to using more as the skin becomes more tolerant and robust.
But I think it's also about making sure that you're personalising your skincare regime. And this, for me, is something that is a huge problem. There are so many products out there that say they're going to make your skin better. But actually, if you don't understand your own skin and your own skin issues, you're never going to find the right product for you. So I think making it personalised, a real bespoke approach to skincare is hugely important, because everyone is different.
Personalisation is key. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for your intelligent and insightful questions. A big thank you to the beautiful and very smart Dr. Emma.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed, please subscribe, and we look forward to hearing your comments. Bye for now.
Bye.